I'm really excited to talk to Aisyah Rafaee today. Aisyah, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thanks, Stephanie. So I am a rower by profession. My full-time gig is working with a company called Hydro, being an athlete on the water and filming workout videos. But on the side, I made my passion into a business. I started my own company last year called Mental Excellence Co. Basically, what I do is provide tools and resources for athletes and coaches, as well as parents, to help them with their mental side of things, so to help them with their athletic performance.
Aisyah, you've been to the Olympics in Rio, you've won a gold medal in the SEA Games for Singapore. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get as a girl to get to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So I decided to tap into the mental side of things in sports because I've always been interested in it, especially as an athlete. But I only started working with a mental skills coach in my rowing journey towards the end of my rowing career. So at that point in time, it was maybe 13 years of rowing. It was only the last year or so that I found a mental skills coach, and that started when I wasn't performing in my races, and I decided to kind of like find help. And basically working with a mental skills coach changed my life, because I, I I can confidently say that without his help, I wouldn't be able to qualify for the Olympic Games. Of course, my rowing coach as well, with all the years of physical training, but that mental side of things was also very important. So when I moved to the US, I started coaching as a rowing coach, and I realized that the women I was working with, I was coaching with the MIT lightweight women's team. I realized that they needed more of like the mental side of training. So that's what pursued or kind of like motivated me to want to pursue into this industry and start my own company.
Aisha, it's so inspiring to hear you talk. How in the world does one get so mentally resilient to actually win medals?
That's a very good question. I think resilience comes from understanding yourself. I think self-awareness is very important, especially as an athlete. You got to know where you are at the moment and where you want to be. I think that's the other part, that to the big picture as well, knowing where you want to be, what you want in your life. Um, and of course, there's the in-between, which has the challenges that you have to go through. How does someone have the build the mental resilience to get to where they want to be? I think it's, like I said, understanding themselves, their purpose, what drives them, and really honing on their strengths, everything that they have to get to where they want to be. So using themselves as that platform to push themselves forward.
Amazing, Aisha. Tell us a little bit what motivates you. What motivated you in your athletic journey? And it's not over, I guess. But and how and what motivates you now?
So I believe that I have a strong determination. I'm very stubborn in a good way. I feel that if I want to get something or go somewhere, I will do whatever it takes to get there, and nothing can stop me in my way. Yeah, so I think uh, the whole athletic journey, my business journey, whatever I've gone through in my life, I feel like I have that determination to always want to get there.
Amazing, Aisha. What would you say, is that your biggest quality that got you to where you are today, or what is your biggest quality?
I would say that would be my biggest quality. I see challenges as a platform for me to take that step forward. I love challenges. I love stepping out of the comfort zone. It is scary, especially like going into new things, like starting a business, like moving to the States. but I always see this as stepping stones to get me somewhere, to get me further, because I always believe that there's no point staying in the same spot. You got to take that step forward. Even if it's a step back, at least you're making that step. I can't imagine myself being in the same spot for a long time.
Aisha, I'm wondering where you learned or got that courage from.
Ooh, I don't know if I learned it from anywhere. I think it's just my personal characteristics to be very determined and driven. Um, Also, I think part of it is wanting to prove myself wrong, wanting to prove others wrong, especially coming from a small country, where sports is not really a big thing, and coming from a minority background and wanting to, always proving others. I think that's where that drive comes from as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting what power comes from that. Aisha, I'm wondering what top tips would you give to maybe younger girls starting out, understanding that they are really good in a particular sport? What tips would you give them to sort of scale that?
Yeah, sure. So my top tips would be to persevere if it's something that you feel that, most importantly, you gotta love it, right? But love doesn't come for me in the sport of rowing. I didn't love the sport when I first started it. It was challenging, it was frustrating, it was hard. But I pushed through it, and at the end of the day, it was rewarding. So it takes time to build that love towards something. But if it comes naturally, then good. But if it's not, and if it's something that you see potential in or others see potential in you, continue to push hard, push forward. Don't let anything get in the way between you and your goals and your dreams. And most importantly, whatever that you're doing has to bring you joy. Because I feel that if it's not fun, if it's not something that you look forward to every single day, there's no point doing it. Because at the end of the day, you got to live life.
Yeah, I agree. Aisha, when did you realize that rowing is your thing?
Ooh, really good question. When I participated in my first race, which was almost a year into when I started rowing. So it took me a while to kind of like figure out this is the thing for me. So a year.
Wow, yeah. Aisha, and what goals or plans do you have for your future? How do you want to scale your business? What is in store for you?
Yeah, I definitely want to grow my business to help more athletes, more coaches. My biggest dream is to make athletes and coaches understand that mental skills training is as valuable as their physical training. I think there's a lot of talk about mental skills, mental health, but there hasn't been a lot of actions. So hopefully being that voice for that action to move forward into that industry. And for me as an athlete, I guess a former athlete, a current athlete, wherever I am, I always have athletic goals. So whether in rowing, I recently got back in the boat, so going for a few races in the next few months. And also I love running, so maybe a half marathon or a marathon in the next year or so. So juggling that, all of that all together.
I love it. That's so inspiring, Aisha. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thanks, Stephanie.